John, so good to see you. Today, we are going to talk through 4 ways to improve your investment performance. This does not mean taking on more risk or chasing the latest trend. Often, it's about getting the fundamentals right. So, let's walk through 4 simple ways that investors can use to improve their money management skills without making things more complicated. Number one, this one is simple and straightforward: automate and then get out of the way. Automate those contributions, your investments, how often you rebalance, what else?
Yeah, so especially for those people who are still working and you're in your accumulation phase, your 401k, set up your 401ks, contribute to the amount you can comfortably contribute, set up your accounts, and then let it do its work. You can check it once a month, once every other month. You still want to be aware of it, but just let everything just act accordingly. Now,
Right.
if you're retired, it's a little bit different. If you have an advisor, you set your accounts. The typical standard of buy and hold is you're going to be in a diversified account, and you need to understand the limit of your upside, because investing, especially in retirement, it's completely different than accumulation. We've talked about this. So when you're investing in retirement, you really want to focus on what's your downside risk tolerance, what you can actually stomach, and then the risk capacity, what mathematically you can actually afford to lose, because you will lose money at some point in time. So we say set it and forget it then, because then you let the advisor develop the portfolios, and then you just let those portfolios do their job. Now, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you have to have that same principle of understanding your downside, but you just can't forget it, because you are your own advisor, so you have to monitor it. But then it becomes inherently difficult not to uh, make an irrational decision that we're all known to
Mhm.
make. So you want to be able to stay dedicated, and then you monitor your accounts. Again, like we've talked in the past, maybe every other week, maybe once a week or once a month if you have an advisor. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, then it's more going to be on that once a week type of basis.
Mhm, mhm. All right, number 2, consolidate. If you have old retirement accounts floating around, managing your money becomes harder and getting a look at your whole financial picture becomes even more difficult. So this is an easy but often overlooked step.
Yeah, and this we see this a lot. People come into our office, they're now retiring, and they have 3 or 4 different, 401ks from old jobs.
Yeah.
So we want to consolidate it into 1 or 2 IRAs at one custodian, because guess what? You just have to log on to one website and you can see all your accounts right there. And I say 2 IRAs because for some people, you want to be able to, and we've talked about the bucketing or giving your money a job in retirement. It's really important that you do this, because you want to, if you need income in retirement, right? You may not have a pension, you have to turn your assets into income. You're going to do this any number of ways, whether it's through an annuity income stream, bond interest, or other dividends and interest type of income accounts. You want to have an IRA for that. And then you have your other IRA for growth money. Psychologically, it's a great way to separate the two, and it's a little bit easier to track. And having your money all to an IRA or a couple of IRAs from the land of 401ks, 457bs, it simplifies your life in tracking your portfolio. But remember, you're going to have required minimum distributions when you're 73 or 75. This becomes very important, because you can have multiple IRAs, but if your income bucket is satisfying the income you need for all the other IRAs, the totality of all your IRA accounts, that's okay. One IRA can satisfy the distributions of multiple IRA accounts. However,
Mhm.
if you have multiple 401ks, 457bs, 401hs, you have to take a distribution from each one of those singular accounts. So if you have 3 401ks, you're taking RMDs from 3 401ks. And the more RMDs you have to take, the more chance you have for an error and the following penalty. Lastly,
Yeah.
we've talked about just simplifying, organizing your portfolios and in RMDs, but I had a friend that passed years ago, and I was asked that if I could help with my experience to find all of his accounts. And he had bank accounts here, he had investments account, he had accounts all over the place. Make it easier for your beneficiaries. Just have everything clear, concise. We have that family estate planner that we give our clients so the beneficiaries know where everything is. And imagine they have to go to 5, 6 different custodians or banks versus just one bank
Mhm.
and one custodian. Simple and easy.
Right. Right, right. All right, number 3, define your time horizon before investing. This can help guide your decisions when it comes to buying, selling, or holding an asset.
Yeah. So again, in your accumulation, you have a long time horizon. Now, as you're starting to get closer to retirement, you want to pay attention to that time horizon in a vacuum, right? If using the example of 2008, if you're 2007 and you're going to retire in 2008 and you are aggressively allocated and you need a certain amount of money for retirement, and 2008 wiped you out. So, within those last couple of years at retirement red zone, you want to start to understand that time horizon. But when you're in retirement, you have to understand that the time horizon is completely different. Investing, again, is
Right,
completely different. You don't
right,
have as much length on that tape measure of life. So, again, giving your money jobs and bucketing your money into time horizons really helps, right? If you have
mhm,
income or you're going to need income within the next couple of years, make those investments more conservative. Now, if you have a pension or you've satisfied that income, then you have that money that I say, listen, that's 5+ years away. That's growth. And why is that time horizon? Why is 5+ years important? Because that's the typical long term, or the typical recovery of a long term bear market. So you always want to
right,
have that plan in place.
right. All right, and number 4, this one again, easier said than done, but just try to save a little more every year.
Yeah, and whether it's a salary bump through a pay raise at work, or you got promoted and you got a pay raise, try to pay yourself a little bit more. And if you can just do 1 or 2% a year, that's amazing compounding interest. So again, if
Right,
you're sitting
right,
there and everything's comfortable, come New Year's, say, listen, I'm going to try to just stretch myself 1 or 2% more. I know for a lot of people that it's just not possible. We've seen crazy inflation,
mhm,
over the last 6 years, and people, can't afford to stretch themselves. That's okay. At least you've tested those waters. And let's say you add 1 to 2% more. I guarantee that if you have market growth, you are going to be much happier by doing that. And again, that 1 or 2%, it may not seem like a lot coming out of your paycheck, but it could have profound effects. Now, the flip side is if you tried that 1 or 2% and you already battening down the hatches before, and you just say it's not doable. I need as much money as possible.
mhm,
I'm going to invest up to my match or whatnot. Then guess what? You just tell your HR or your payroll, you go on your system and you just bring the reduction, you reduce your
right,
contributions,
right.
but at least you knew that you gave it a conservative effort. Again, you have to take care of yourself now, but if you can, try to stretch yourself for a brighter future.
Yeah, it's really helpful to talk these 4 tips through because they sound straightforward, but they really can be incredibly powerful. Back to basics, making sure again that those fundamentals in place, which again is something, John, I know that you stress to me all the time. If somebody wants to sit down with you, talk more about improving their own investment performance or how to get the fundamentals in place, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so you're going to visit our website, www.gosecurus.com. while you're on the website and you want to look at all the other videos that we've talked on accumulation versus distribution phases and buckets of money and tax funnels, we have all the videos on our website. And while you're on your website, we actually now have a little chat bot down in the right-hand corner that will help you schedule a either 20-minute complimentary consultation or a phone consultation where we can answer any general questions, or you can schedule a 60-minute vision and clarity consultation if you're more interested in working with us.
Great. John, thank you.
Thank you, Erin.